In November of 2021, an incident occurred in the small village of Norton Fitzwarren, which, to be frank, no one would have ever expected. The village, located in the heart of Somerset, is exactly how you imagined. Not much to do for the children other than the odd museum here and there, a couple of churches and of course a co-op. The usual, it's a sleepy village, nothing more can really be said. But what should be noted is that although the events that unfolded were unexpected, similar occurrences have been popping up across villages in the UK, making it a nationwide problem. Something that's normally associated to young people in gangs within metropolitan areas is spreading like wildfire, even in the smallest pockets. It tends to lean more towards domesticated rather than gang-related, and at least for the past couple of years anyway, the trend seems to be linked to the national lockdown, although this case in particular doesn't fit within that category. But the motive does match that of an incident we've already looked into, and the trivial catalyst that stretches back months really does show how life can be taken over nothing. Sprinkle that in with a relationship on the rocks, and well, you've got yourself a recipe for disaster. In 2015, people had started to occupy homes on the Dragonrise estate located within Norton Fitzwarren. It was a new build estate, and whether you were a new family or an old-timer looking for a relocation, it was the perfect place. It was quiet, peaceful, but most of all of the residents respected one another. For the most part anyway. You see, there were multiple reports that arguments had broke out over car parking spaces. One space was allocated per house, but it's not hard to imagine that people owned more than one car per property. So this caused issues, but nothing that couldn't be resolved. No grudges were held. One family that decided to move to the estate were none other than the Chapples. Married couple, 36-year-old Stephen, IT teacher at West Somerset College, and 33-year-old Jennifer, garden centre employee, along with their at the time 1-year-old son, moved into what they believed was going to be their forever home. It was perfect to bring up the children. Life was good, everything was going great, and 1 year on, out pops another baby. Over the next couple of years, the Chapples lived a relatively normal life. There were no issues with none of the neighbours, and they pretty much just got on with their business. That was until 2019. There aren't many details surrounding this first reported incident other than Jennifer had only recently passed her driving test, and as she'd been reversing out of her drive, she bumped her car into the next door neighbour's car, Colin Reeves. Colin had also moved on to the new estate around the same time as the Chapples with his wife and children. Although he wasn't around much for the first couple of years, as he'd still been in active deployment for the army as a Commando Royal Engineer. He'd completed many tours for the armed forces, travelling to many locations abroad, including Afghanistan. It should be noted though that his time in Afghanistan never consisted of any frontline work, rather working in a hospital where he would have seen injured comrades come back. He also had been some kind of lorry driver. Again, that didn't consist of any frontline action. In one incident, one of his troop commanders was killed while he was working in the hospital, but there was no evidence again to suggest there was any frontline experience or action in the war zone. However, in 2009, after serving a tour, Colin, according to his wife, just wasn't the same anymore, and was never the same again moving forward after that point. He was more agitated by small inconveniences and had bottled up his emotions. In 2017, Colin finally decided it was time for him to leave the army, and so he came home to his wife and kids on the Dragonrise estate. He was looking forward to spending his future away from the armed forces. For his time served, he was thanked and gifted a ceremonial dagger before being allowed to leave and moving on with his life. He quickly used his driving knowledge to secure himself a lorry driving job away from the army, although he described it as lonely. While doing extra training to get him ready for the roads in the UK, there was an incident that went down where Colin described a road traffic accident happening, which he said stuck with him as the years proceeded. So there had been a bump in 2019, and this essentially is where the issue started between the Chapples and the Reeves. although the relationship between the two families seemed to repair. In 2020, the national lockdown took the nation by storm, and the once cracked relationship was on the mend. We don't know details of the conversations between the two parties, but it has been said that friendly exchanges had happened. 1 year on, however, the same couldn't be said. In 2021, Jennifer had purchased a new vehicle which seemingly obstructed Colin's part of the driveway. For whatever reason, although there had been back and forths before about this specific issue, this time around it would continue for months. We can't pinpoint why, but maybe this had been the final straw for both. Too much water had gone under the bridge. In May, Jennifer had received a message from Colin's wife asking her not to park her vehicle across the bottom of their garden as it was blocking the driveway. We'll assume that message was either not seen or ignored because a confrontation would break out, which was captured on the Chapple's Ring doorbell camera.
Yeah, we can't reverse in here when the car's here all the time. You can talk about that. We've only got one parking space. Eh? It's not. Well, it's not work.
Police had been called to the address at least 3 times between May and November of 2021. The families were at a verbal war with each other near enough every day. The Chapples did attempt to calm things, however, by purchasing a smaller car. You can see here they managed to get 2 cars on their drive rather than 1. But what started out as an argument over a parking space now seen spate over other trivial matters. In a clip from November 11th, 2021, Jennifer is seen returning home. Colin approaches and spews hate towards her.
She's the one who started it, the off.
What's that, you fat
God.
Throughout the 6-month period, again going from May until November, it wasn't just the families who were going at it. Colin and his wife's relationship was on the decline as well. His wife put it down to army-related mental health issues, but Colin refused to get any medical help. He said that if he was to see a doctor for those issues, well, then he wouldn't be able to work, meaning no income would be put into the household, from his part anyway. On the 21st of November 2021, Colin's wife suggested that they have a 2-week break and she take the children with her, just to see how they would get on. It was reported that Colin wept on the stairs to the news, but moments later he would do something that would ultimately not just change his life, but the life of many others around him.
You're through to the police. What's the location of your emergency?
I was stabbed.
Right, when's
Neighbours,
that?
husband and the mother.
Right, where are you at the moment?
Dragonrise.
Okay. Rise, is that Dragonrise?
Yes.
Alright, okay. Where did the incident happen?
Sorry?
Where did the incident happen?
Dragonrise.
Alright, okay. And are you safe at the moment?
Yes.
Right, have you got any injuries? Whereabouts have you been stabbed?
No, not me, the neighbours.
The neighbour's been stabbed. By who?
By me.
By you?
Yes.
Right, okay. And where are they? Are they in their house?
Yes.
Alright, stay on the line for me, okay. How bad are the injuries?
They've both been stabbed a couple
Right,
of times.
several times. Alright, stay on the line for me, okay. Are you in your house on your own?
No, I'm with my wife, my children in bed.
Alright, okay. Alright, tell me exactly what's happened. Tell me exactly what's happened. Take a deep breath.
I went round
Yeah.
with a knife
Okay.
and I've stabbed both of them.
Alright, how many times?
I don't know, a couple of times each, not 2 or 3 times each, maybe.
Okay. Are they still conscious and breathing?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Okay. Are you at home now?
Yes.
And are they males or females?
One male, one female.
Okay. And you're currently in, are you?
Yes.
All right. All right. Stay on the phone to me, okay? What's your name?
Colin Reeves.
All right, Colin. How are you spelling your surname?
R-E-E-V-E-S.
All right. And did you say your wife is with you?
Sorry?
Did you say your wife is with you?
Yes.
All right. What kind of knife did you use?
It was a dagger.
Okay. All right. Just stay on the line for me, okay? We're going to get some help out there as soon as we can. All right. Stay on the line for me, okay?
Okay.
How long ago did this happen?
About 20 minutes.
All right, okay. All right, Colin, just stay on the line to me, okay? We're going to get some help out there. So you stabbed them both several times?
Yes.
Where's the knife now?
It's in my house.
Okay. All right. You've done the right thing by calling us, okay?
Yeah.
All right, just stay on the line for me. Just getting some details down on the log, okay? What happened when you left? What was their situation when you left?
They were both, oh, he was lying on the floor. She was lying on the sofa.
Right, okay. And were they awake? Were they...
No, I think they were sort of drifting
And what room were they in?
in the living room.
Okay.
Colin Reeves removed his ceremonial knife from its frame, jumped the garden fence, and unleashed a brutal attack on both Jennifer and Stephen whilst they were drifting off to sleep in the living room. Camera footage from the Chapple's home address captures Colin shout, "Fucking come on then," before a door was slammed. Although video has been released of that moment, you can see the cat escape the horror. The audio hasn't. Both Stephen and Jennifer received 6 stab wounds each while their children were sleeping upstairs. Neighbours heard the ordeal and attempted to message Jennifer to see if everything was okay, but after they hadn't received a reply, they headed outside to see what was going on. As they were doing so, they noticed there was a tissue on the floor with blood on it. And that's when they looked up and saw Colin. He had stormed back into his house, slammed the door behind him and locked it. One of the neighbours recalled Colin looking straight through him. Soon after though, neighbours discovered the horrific scene and called for police. It took them roughly 20 minutes to arrive on the scene after they said they had to carry out a risk assessment. Police boiled this down to the knife man, Colin, making the 999 call. So they had to take extra precaution. When they arrived at the scene, both Stephen and Jennifer were pronounced dead.
Right.
Where's your handcuffs?
Put your hands up.
Not me, mate. Him.
You?
Go in the house. Just put your
Right. Put your hands up.
behind your back.
Right. Hold still. Hold still. Listen. You're under arrest at the minute on the attempted murder
In the house.
of 2 people inside the address next door. Do you understand? Okay. Let's walk over here a minute, out the way. Can you guys just... Alright, that's fine. We'll sort it.
What's your first name?
Colin.
Colin.
Right. Confused. Don't understand why I'm here.
Just doing my job. Just confused why I'm here. Right. Confused. Don't understand why I'm here. Just doing my job. Just confused why I'm here. It was an operation.
Firstly, I just need to ask you, when you were arrested and brought into custody, when you were being assessed in the custody unit here, you said to the I think it was the custody nurse, "I shouldn't have done it, I've ruined their lives and mine." Can I just confirm, did you say that?
No comment.
And what did you mean by that?
No comment.
Okay, Colin, in as much detail as possible, tell me what happened yesterday in Dragonrise that led to the deaths of Jennifer and Stephen Chapple.
No comment.
Explain to me exactly what happened inside Dragonrise. Did you kill Jennifer and Stephen?
No comment.
How were you involved in their deaths?
No comment.
Upon initial questioning, Colin told police he was just doing his job and that he was on an operation. We later come to find out that he said the Chappell's security light gave him flashbacks of his time with the armed forces and he acted out on impulses. However, detectives didn't believe him, so they wanted to pursue murder charges, and the Crown Prosecution Service believed that they indeed had a strong case. In May of 2022, Colin would go on to admit that he did kill the Chappells, but it was a case of manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. The prosecution still wanted to chase the murder charges though, so a trial went ahead in June of 2022. And it wasn't up for debate whether he killed them or not, rather was his mental state in the correct place when he killed the pair. To summarise, Colin had claimed that his time in the army, along with him being beaten as a child and witnessing the road traffic accident, all added to form a case of complex PTSD, which one medical professional agreed with. However, two others claimed that he did indeed have some form of mental illness, but it wouldn't have contributed to him killing both Stephen and Jennifer. After a 9-day trial, Colin was found guilty for the murders of Stephen and Jennifer. He's due to be sentenced on the 21st of June 2022, tomorrow, from when I'm recording this video. So it seems that Colin did have some kind of mental health issue, but it didn't attribute to him killing both Stephen and Jennifer. Although news headlines quote that this was over a car parking spot, which is true, it was the catalyst. I believe another factor comes into play. You see, it was agreed between all medical professionals that Colin did have a case of mild depression. He had suggested that his wife leave him because his mental state wasn't right. To me, it seems that although back and forths had happened about trivial situations, starting with disputes over parking, he became enraged about the matter at hand with his wife and wanted to take it out on someone. With him having prior issues with the Chapples, they sadly would become the targets.